He's kicked it. He's kicked it.
Cleary has done it again. Nathan Cleary wins it for Penrith.
Hello and welcome to Thursday Lines. I'm Luke O'Brien, aka OB. Thursday Lines is brought to you by Little Birdie TV, topsport.com.au, Punting Form and Comics Lounge. As we say, welcome to MG. Another big week in AFL, MG.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It was a big week of betting last week, actually. Bet all the way through the weekend with the weather coming or not coming. So, yeah, it was plenty of action last weekend. And, we've already had some couple of nice bets this weekend, hopefully. And markets are moving. So, yeah, plenty going on. It's good.
Beautiful. As we say, welcome back to Toprope in his normal surrounds. He's back up there in orange and he's looking splendid. He's had a haircut, trimmed himself right up. We say welcome to Toprope.
Oh, good to be here, boys. Good to be back on my home deck. It's a long road trip. So we're back on deck and ready to fire for an all weekend. Great to see MG. The bet count right up last week for MG. So taking the lead there. Tried to bet every game. Loved it.
Beautiful.
Did too.
No such thing as a no bet game in our world.
I was channeling the inner top rope. I think I only missed one game I stayed out of last week. So, yeah, there's a lot of cheering downstairs.
Beautiful. And gather round, huge success all round from the AFL. The Adelaide government has locked, the South Australian government has locked it in for another 3 years. That's how good it was. You know, stick magic round up your jumper. Gather round is here to stay and is prospering on all levels.
I've never seen anything like it, Top Rope. This PR machine of the AFL this week. Unbelievable. I'm staunch AFL Top Rope, as you know, but I tell you what, I've heard some rubbish over the weekend going on about it. Sounds like, unbelievable. I mean, it was a good event, but let's not go over the top. Seriously, sign them in for 3 more years. I'll pay for that.
Work round more like it. Unbelievable sense.
You're not far wrong. I think it's a lot of backslapping at the AFL headquarters this week. I tell you what, God, it makes you sick.
Adelaide were in full swing as well. Fair dinkum. They haven't had an event for 5-10 years, and now they've had 2 in a week. They'll be exhausted. They'll be like Top Rope coming off the Masters last week. So yeah,
they won't know themselves. But so Live Golf is obviously in Adelaide this week, which we'll touch on a little bit later. But yeah, it's all the city of churches has come alive for 10 days of the year.
Yeah, good to see Top Rope. They're hosting one golf tournament and they're claiming it's the greatest thing to ever come to Australian shores in golf.
Unbelievable.
I think we've held 3 President Cups in our history, haven't we, Top Rope? Might just trumpet it.
President's Cups, I'll tell you what, the Australian Open was once regarded as the 5th major. So we had Jack Nicklaus, Tom Watson, Adel Pardo around here. So I'm not entirely sure we're dealing with the greatest golf tournament ever.
They're on a roll, Adelaide. Just let them keep going.
That's right.
It's good to watch.
Let them go. A bit more AFL news. The tackles back in the news as well. A lot of concussions around. So you might find a little Brownlow, nice little Brownlow bet at double figure odds in the not too distant future.
Well, Top Rope relies on me at the end of the year. So one thing he does tune in for the AFL is the Brownlow fill up each year. And I'm telling you, Top Rope, there'll be no one left the way we're going at the attrition rate. They lost 3 on the weekend. Merritt, Adams for Collingwood and Green for Giants, all capable of being right up there in Brownlow counts. It's going to be last man standing. There might be an ordinary winner come the end of the year, Top Rope, with the attrition rate the way it is. They're just
serious question now. How do you get suspended in a non-contact sport?
Here he is. Well, talking your tackles, mate. You got hair halfway down your back. And now it's a penalty. What he's doing?
What an absolute ridiculous penalty that was. He barely even touched his hair. If you're going to have the hair out of a lair, you deserve to cop it. Yeah, Toprope used to get pulled down by his hair in the NFL all the time when he played Pittsburgh Steelers. And you just had to cop it because that was a stupid haircut he decided to run with. He accepted that. Well, otherwise it should be exactly the same. Adam O'Brien is a complete moron, but he's 100% right in the fact that he should be encouraging his players to grow their hair as long as stems. Absolute madness not to. Just run to your heart's content. Grow long beards, grow long hair, have you tackle. Tremendous idea.
And isn't it a rule in the NFL, if your hair is below your name on your jersey, it's free game? Is that right?
Fair game. Yep. It covers out the helmet, fair game.
It's unbelievable. Anyway, but in more NRL news, Origin's not too far away. And then also Jack Whiten, he's pulled out of representative football and a decision on his future is not too far away either.
Yeah, Orange boy, Jack Whiten. Breaking news, my old man told me, who knows Jack Lambert. that he was going to the Dolphins. So obviously not getting great mail there. So he seems to be at some south. So Mick Tedeschi at the Alpine Butcher Store, not the news brief we've been upon soap he was. So he's in all the news. But from Red Footy, he's not claiming there's no will. I think he was pretty salty about missing out on the selection in Game 3 last year, being man of the match in Game 1, missing Game 2 through COVID. But I think the players have huge raps on playing for Rochelle. But I think this is more to do with, look, he wants to maximise his dollars for whatever club he signs with. I think that's going to be part of the negotiations. He will be there all year round.
Well, I did hear something say that he did want to concentrate on club football and win a premiership. So that's probably why. As we look at the scores for the AFL for round 5 there, MG, you want to run us through those? Anything really catch your eye?
Yeah, Adelaide very impressive. They've continuing their good start for the year, absolutely smashing Carlton. The longer the game went, the better they got. Carlton very disappointing. The Freo Gold Coast was an ordinary affair where Freo were able to eke out a close win there and keep their early season alive. Anyway, if they'd lost that one, they were in all sorts. Sydney defeated injury-depleted Richmond quite easily. Now, obviously, Sydney have got their injury concerns going into this week. Brisbane absolutely smashed ordinary Kangaroos, who did win their first 2 games in their last 3 weeks. Have probably seen them more where they're at, so that was a bit of a walk in the park there for Brisbane. Melbourne, probably the upset of the week for sure. Essendon knocking off the Demons. They were very impressive, Essendon, and also 4-1, and now they lead into Collingwood for Anzac Day, which we'll discuss a bit later. The wet weather game, the only one that really landed with all the rain forecasts for the week. I spent too many days watching the weather forecast, and that was the only one that really hit. So low scoring game there. Port Adelaide in front of their home crowd got the job done there. Geelong beat up and then eased up on West Coast. They could have really gone on with the job, Geelong, but I think they did the right thing with the way West Coast are going. Just pulled up. GWS Hawthorn, close game was the only thing you want to comment there. Terrible standard game. Obviously the highlights were just the last minute where Himmelberg kicked the winning goal and then saved the kick off Impey's boot. And Collingwood and St Kilda, pretty ordinary game as well. Geez, I tell you what, Lyon does not want supporters going to the football in St Kilda games. He just parks the bus. He just drags every game down into the mud, which is, making an easy bet for underpunters at the moment. So we'll continue that trend in around 6. But yeah, it was a low game and Collingwood just found a way to grind it out. And then all of a sudden St Kilda woke up with 5 minutes to go and said, geez, we're 4 goals down here. We might try and score, and nearly pinched a draw. But yeah, not a bad week of AFL overall.
Beautiful. As we have a look at the AFL round 5 stats, 7 from 9 favourites covered the line, 4 of 9. The over total, so a lot of high scoring on the weekend. We thought the weather might be coming, but they were 6 of 9 for the over total. And the home team, both Adelaide and Port Adelaide, got up in Adelaide for gather round. As we look at the season stats, 25 of 45 favourites cover the line, 20 out of 45. The over total, that's probably the one that's jumping out to us there, MG, yeah. 28 of 45, and the home team, 23 of 38.
Yeah, probably the first winning week for the punters. Round 5 was 7 out of 9 favourites winning, but there was only 4 covers, so that probably tempered a little bit. But yeah, as you said, 62% is a high number for over totals, and it was helped on the weekend with weather forecasts that probably forced the totals down. But yeah, at the moment, the game is mostly attractive and probably the opposite of the NRL, where they hate to score in their game.
As we look at the NRL scores from round 7 there, top rope, a little bit of scoring, but still not as high as what we like.
Depends on who the we you're talking about. Exactly as high as I like. So I don't anything. It's too high scoring. Rabbitohs beat Dolphins 36-14. Dolphins actually led at half time there, and was on the plus pretty shortly to that second half. But pitch load completely there. Sharks beat the Roosters 22-12 in a very good game of football. Seagulls beat the Storm 18-8 in the absolute bell-rare tackle of the year. Omoli Olakawatu laid out Justin Olam, defensive battle blues of war all night. I think that game had 5 sin mittens. So it was a bit of a silly performance on the Storm, but good game of footy. Warriors beat the Cowboys 22-14 in easy but a good game of footy. Panthers Knights, great game of footy, 16-15. The Knights, 15.5 point outsiders at home, but it took some Nathan Cleary brilliance to keep the field goal to level the scores and keep the winner and golden point. So really outstanding match. Bulldogs Titans led comfortably just before half time, and they had a charge down, go for a try, and it completely fell apart there. 43-26 game featuring a completely meaningless field goal from Adam Reynolds at the end to put like 43-20, which I absolutely loved. The Raiders Dragons, worst game of footy of the weekend, close to the worst game of footy all season. But if you're a punter on this one, you either cop one of the great backdoors or one of the worst beats of all time. 20-14 Raiders. Line was 7.5. 20-10 with a minute to play, and Jack White throws a pointless intercept because he could just be trying to run out the game. Tau Moga put the slow spin in the cop, runs 60 metres untouched. So, huge results for those on the plus and those on the minus. Good luck at the gap. And Eels beat the Bulldogs Steve for Bulldogs more injuries. Jake Bucraz went down early, but just like the polish in the hearts and actually held the Eels pretty well for most of the game. There's a couple of periods where the Eels put them a couple of tries at a time, so we're comfortable with that.
And 4 field goals for the weekend as well, so that ups the tally nicely. Toprope.
Very, very big weekend for field goals, including 3 in about 5 minutes in the Knights Panthers game, so it was on central right there. But hard to beat the Adam Reynolds one, just those pointless ones. And added an aside, for those who are who have had Aliziana Canberra last try scorer, like one of your hosts may have done. But then to get the short kick-off back and then score that last try was just the cherry on top of an already wonderful moment.
As we look at the round 7 stats, the 5 of 8 favourites covered the line 3 of 8, the over total 2 of 8, so very low scoring still in the NRL. Home team 5 of 8. As we look at the season stats, the two that probably jump out there, the favourites 32 of 56 and the home team 34 of 56. So, the home team favourites in the NRL Toprope.
Yeah, they get me, but they Collingwood would be going at a better click. We're seeing a lot of underdog cover as well, 57% in the underdog cover, but no huge kind of trends that you just need to back. We've seen the last few years when we saw the points be way too low in totals as there were some pretty significant rule changes and then kind of flip back the other way. So, yeah, we're seeing probably underdogs being undervalued a bit more. And that's pretty common early in the season.
As we look to other sports for the global wrap for topsport.com.au, the Live Golf hits Adelaide, as we've spoke about before. Smith and Koepka are probably the standouts there. Anyone take your fancy, Toprope?
Yeah, not Smith or Koepka. I wouldn't be back into those. Koepka on Big Masters showing, doesn't usually show up in these smaller events. I'm not sure Smith's going super well. Look, he does go well in Australia, so he'll be looking for his best. But a couple of names I'll be back in. Peter Uline. I think we can get about 25 to 1 on Peter Uline, maybe 33s out there. Well suited to the course. I think this is going to be a ball strokers course. And the other one, Mito Pereira. Let me down before. Absolutely owes me plenty. I'm not going to wait to get back.
Anything for you, MG?
No, I probably won't. I'll watch it, but no, I'll probably stay out of it. I have invested a few dollars on Top Ropes tips though.
And the NBA and NHL playoffs continue as we look at the NBA championships. There's a couple of games going on as we speak, but the Bucks at 360, the Celtics at 450 as we go down the page there. The Golden State Warriors at 950. Now, come on. They are about to get trumped by the great Sacramento Kings, and the Sacramento Kings are not on the first line of betting. Jump on. We are absolutely on fire. We're lighting the beam in Sacramento.
Is that a new cap you got?
No, this is old, mate. You can't get these anymore. That's
Sure.
how old it is. It is vintage, and just watch out for the Kings.
And you've got a couple of NRL teams. You've got about 7 AFL teams. How many NBA teams you've got there?
Just one. Oh, look, I don't mind the Denver Nuggets as well. We spent a bit of time over in Denver, but Sacramento through and through. Anyway, and the Stanley Cup playoffs, they also continue. And a reminder, the surfing heads to Margaret River in WA this week. Check out all the action and all the prices on topsport.com.au. But right now it's time for Thursday Lines, brought to you by topsport.com.au. Family owned and operated for 35 years. Bet with a bookie you can trust. Bet with topsport.com.au. As we look at the premiership prices, MG.
Yeah, not too much movement. Equal favourites there at the top. Collingwood, Melbourne. Brisbane have tightened a little and so have Geelong. So, yeah, I think, the cream's probably rising to the top. I think most teams, most punters at the start of the year would have a lot of those 4 sides up the top. Geez, I tell you what, Carlton, $10, you can leave me out of that. And Sydney, the way they're going, just on the current with the amount of injuries, $10 seems a bit short for me. And the rest, you can please yourself. I couldn't be chiming into Port Adelaide, St Kilda or Essendon. I know some of them got off to a good start, but yeah, I'm still keen at the top. And the preseason bet at Brisbane, and I still think with Melbourne's draw, I know they lost last week to Essendon, but I think they'll bounce back this week against a injury depleted Richmond. So yeah, the top for me.
As we look at the AFL stings for round 5 and just see how you went, MG, 5 of 9, 21.5 units bets, the result plus 2.98, so not too bad. A winning week's a winning week. Profit on turnover plus 13.86 in the season. 18 wins and 13 losses, 74.5 units bets, plus just under 5 for the result, and POT 6.62. So just ticking along, but we need a lift.
Yeah, I was good to bounce back after the round 4. It was a bit of a blowout, but yeah, I've kind of emulated the man Toprope with a 20 plus unit. You won't see that too often from me, if ever, for the rest of the season. Toprope. So yeah, just got involved with the weather. There was a few slow moving markets and just read it a bit differently. So yeah, grinded it out, but yeah, it could have gone a little better. But anyway, a win's a win. We move on to round 6.
Absolutely. As we look at the NRL Premiership prices at topsports.com.au, the Panthers at $3.60, the Roosters easing at $5.50, and the Rabbitohs, Storm and Broncos have been the big shortener. And then the Sharks, Seagulls, Eels and the Raiders. Anything take your fancy there, Toprope?
Yeah, a couple I'll be looking at the prices. I think Melbourne have done a pretty good job to a pretty trying period. I know that was a loss last week, but they're still kind of up there, and they've got the upside to really make for other premiership. Yeah, it's hard to not be impressed by the Sharks. I'm surprised that they are long in the broadcast, to be honest. They have shown an ability to win football games in both styles, defensive kind of lockdown matches, and they can score pretty freely. Nico Hines go as well as anyone. So at the price of that'd be the two I'd be looking at.
The round 7 GGOA. 2 of 6, a little down for Toprope. He has been on fire. The units bets 14, result minus 5.45, POT minus 38.93. The season 27 and 19, 108.5 units bets plus 14.16, and the POT plus 13.05. So still ticking along nicely, Toprope. But I reckon this week, if you haven't signed up for GGOA or the AFL Stings, both boys are ready for a very big week.
Yeah, it turns out not seeing any games looking for and doing form at Los Angeles Airport, and probably wasn't the ideal situation to roll into. So look, we're back on more solid footing this week, and we're good to go.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. As we look at the first game of AFL action, it's the Friday night blockbuster between the Dockers at $1.77 against the Bulldogs, 203. The line minus 2.5, the over-under 164.5. It's over in the West. Which way are you going, MG?
Yeah, I'm shading the Dockers here, OB. Not too much in it. The markets move slightly their way, just a point in most markets. But yeah, I just think they're back at home. They had a close win, an ordinary win against Gold Coast last week, but they're 10-4 head-to-head against the Bulldogs of late, and they've covered 9 of 14. Interesting stat, they have won 8 straight at their home ground in the month of April. So they defend this kind of the ground, and the time of the year seems to suit them as well. Worries for the Bulldogs, what I don't like is they're off a 6-day break, got to travel to Perth, and they're also off a very heavy surface. They played during the rain against Port Adelaide on Saturday night, so going onto a fast Perth deck I don't think will help them. So yeah, I'm going to shade the Freo Dockers in the head-to-head, but yeah, I'm pretty keen on the unders here. The total's starting to move. 167.5 I think was a decent bet. I think it should be closer to the 160 mark. So yeah, I think the under is the play in this game. They've 9 out of 14 is the under for the total. So even though Freo have scored 3 straight over games this year, I'm just thinking it'll be a defensive game. The Bulldogs will have to try and drag this down. So low-scoring game, Freo just.
Beautiful. As we look at the Thursday night encounter, no AFL on Thursday night, so the standalone NRL is the Rabbitohs at $2.55 against the Panthers at $1.52. The line 5.5, over under 38.5. The Panthers have had the wood over the Rabbitohs. Which way you going here, Toprope?
Always a standalone NRL OB. Nothing else in the world. Look, real hard game to get a grip on. First thoughts were a good job to determine a plus is probably the bet in 6.5 because 5.5. home underdogs 4-1 in those first 8 rounds of a win colour system. Just I'm leaning towards the buddies there, but very hard to go with Penrith. They've won 10-11 against South. They've won the last 5, covered the last 4. They're very good as favourable weights in Australia. I'm going to bet this game, and FYI, I am. I'm backing the under. I still know there's 39.5, 38.5. Not much difference there. 5 of the last 7, 38 or less. Under 7 or 4 last 7 between these teams. Shy under angles both ways. 10-3 and Penrith are on the road. Australian 16 or fewer start back in the under with the remainder confidence.
Beautiful. So low scoring in counter there as we look at the grand final rematch. The Saturday night game down at GMHBA Stadium. It's the Cats at $1.50, the Swans at $2.60, the line minus 12.5, over under 170.5. The Swans are sort of decimated by injuries. Another one on the weekend in the Marty. Which way are you leaning?
Yeah, I think they're just missing too many troops. Not a good time for them to take on the Cats down at the Canterbury. They defend it very well. Geelong have covered 7 straight at home at the line. So, we know, well aware, it's probably been going on for decades now, Geelong, how good they are. If you bet against them at home, you're going to lose your money pretty quickly. But, yeah, Sydney have just lost too many players. I think I counted with the expected teams. They'll have 9 first-choice players out of their side. So I just think that's too many. I know Geelong aren't going great. It's a very solid market. It hasn't really moved anywhere. Probably couldn't find a bet in the total either. I think I was going to lean towards the over, but the market's come up pretty high at 170.5 Saturday night down at Geelong. Sydney do have the ability to shut down that game. So even though the stats and everything point to the over, Geelong have had 4-1 in the overs this year, and head-to-head, the last 5 straight games between the two have gone over. I'm just worried about the height of the number down at Geelong on a Saturday night. So probably just going to stay out of this game. But if I was having a bet, I'd have to go Geelong over Sydney at the line.
Okay, as we look at the second game of NRL analysis, is the Bulldogs at $4.90 against the Sharks at $1.18. The line 14.5, over under 41.5. Anything take your fancy here, Toprope?
Well, the inclination this time of year is to take the home bust, right? Yeah, a bit like injury assessment of the Swans there. The Dogs are well down troops. Perez, the latest to go down. Looking very thin at the moment, the Bulldogs. Probably slightly in the plus. They've come at 13-19, the Bulldogs against the Sharks, but the Sharks have won 9 of the last 11. The last 3 have all been much more, so not much confidence there. Not a bet for the under, though. 3 of the last 4 have carried 30 or less. 5 of the last 11, 38 or less. I can't send the Bulldogs scoring a lot of points. They're 19-10 to the under when they're 12 underdog. Yeah, small bet the under in this one.
As we go to the Anzac Day blockbuster, 2 teams in the top 4. The Magpies $1.44, the Bombers $2.70, the line minus 14.5, over under 171.5. I haven't remembered an Anzac Day game that's been this highly anticipated in a while, MG, and it should be a beauty.
I think 2000 was the last time maybe they were around the top 4 mark, but yeah, it's been a while. But yeah, good to see. Both teams 4-1, as you said. Collingwood, interestingly enough, have won 13 out of the last 14 at the MCG. So on the back of last year into this year, they've dominated this ground. So they've won their last 2 straight against Essendon. So they've got that going for them. Overall, the last 20 clashes between these two teams, Collingwood leaves 12-8. So I think the advantage goes with Collingwood. But Essendon have definitely got their chances, especially in the injury stakes with Collingwood lacking big men. And we saw last week how Essendon with Draper and Phillips were able to utilise that height. And I think that's the key to Essendon again this week. They'll try and stretch Collingwood both in the ruck and around the ground. So I think that brings Essendon into it. They've covered 4 out of the last 5. They're coming off Melbourne. Geez, what a start for Essendon will be if they can get a scalp of Collingwood and Melbourne, the 2 equal favourites for the Premiership back-to-back. If they get the win this week, then everybody will have to reassess Essendon as maybe a chance of making finals and even winning one OP. I'm not sure what the count is up to, close to 7,000 days or something. But yeah, something there for Essendon. But I'm going to stay out of the line betting. I think it's interesting the way the stats have come up. I think you'd have to take Collingwood to win on the stats, but you'd have to take Essendon at the plus 14.5. So, it's a bit hard to recommend both. It might confuse a few punters as well. But yeah, Collingwood maybe in the smaller margins if you're looking to have a play. But the play here, which I was keen to, and I was happy that the bookies posted mid 160s. They opened at 166.5. Just too short in this game with fine weather expected, big crowd. There'll be plenty of scoring in this game, OB. the moment this year after 5 games only, I know it's a small pool, Collingwood averaging 95, Essendon averaging 99. So they're all out attack, all offense, not too much on the defense. To open up 166, I reckon it was short of goal. It has moved into the 170s now. I think it'll finish closer to 175.5. There'll be plenty of points. Keen on the over.
As we look at the Tuesday Anzac Day game, is the Storm and the Warriors. The Storm $1.26, the Warriors $3.85, the line minus 12.5, over under 42.5. This is one of my favourite games of the year, Toprope.
Yeah, love the Anzac Day double, and this is a fantastic match. Last year, the Storm won 70-10. Incredible scene. With the Storm mid-time, they won the last 13, covered 10 of those 13. They scored 42 plus in 4 of the last 5 against the Warriors. Different team this year, the Warriors. Andrew Webster has done a great job with them, but this is a huge spot for Melbourne. Covered 11 of 14 when favourable at 8 at 80. The Warriors don't go that well at night. Covered 10 of 29 at night. Not a good spot for them. I'm chips in the Warriors. Chips in the Storm this one.
Tassels in on the Storm as we look at the rest of the NRL games for the round. Eels and the Broncos. Eels 2.10. The Broncos $1.74. The line 2 points there, and the over under 42.5.
Yeah, super keen Parramatta here. Best side bet of the week, taking the plus. They dominated the Broncos, won 6 of 7, 5 of the last 6 by 14. Plus, have a great record in Darwin. Chips in the Eels as well.
And the Cowboys and the Knights on Saturday night. Doesn't look like a great game on paper, but $1.67 the Cowboys, $2.20 the Knights, the line minus 2.5, over under 40.5.
Not a great game on paper, but a bad league game. Better than pretty much anything else in the world. So pop up. Cowboys probably deserved favourites. They've been awful this year. They're the worst return of anyone. Knights have played pretty well. Their last 4, 2 wins, draw against Manly, Golden Boy lost to Penrith. So plenty to say about the Knights here. Pull them back, cover 8 at 12 as underdog. Small bit Newcastle. As
we look at a couple of the disappointing teams from last week in the Queensland sides, the Dolphins $1.74, the Titans $2.10, the line minus 2.5, over under 45.5. We were very keen on the Titans last week. Toprope, is that reciprocated this week?
Keen on them, not very keen as per last week. Can't find a lot of argument in the side here, but Dolphins looking very, very thin at the moment. Depth was always an issue there. Noah Silence still. They've conceded 34 plus in 2 of their last 3. I think the Dolphins probably have too much ability to score. Once it's been a high scoring game, I'll be on the Titans personal for it.
Beautiful. And the West Tigers and the Sea Eagles, $3.55 the Tigers, the Sea Eagles $1.30, the line 10.5, over under 44.5.
Absolutely love the over in this one. This total should be 48 and probably will start to the hold up. Overs everywhere. 30 of the last 16 turn, there's 2 going over the total. 5 of the last 6 up 44. The over angles for Man, the over angles for Tigers. Just back the over and back at GMO's blitz.
And the other Anzac Day clash sees the Roosters $1.25 against the St George Illawarra Dragons $4. The line minus 12.5, over under 41.5.
Yeah, interesting game. Roosters have dominated this. Always a great clash there. They won. That's a lot of it would be usually a pretty emotional game. And the Roosters have been very core as big favourites. It covers 8 of 22 when favored by 12 or more. And the Dragons, interesting static, covers 7 of 9 as double-digit underdog in New South Wales. I'm going to back the plus here. It's not going to be a fun watch, but I didn't keep it plus.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Toprope. A reminder, the GGOA is available for $33 a week in the Little Birdie live shop. Toprope, he's got to fly, but have a great weekend, and we'll chat and catch up with you next weekend.
Absolutely. See you, lads, and good punting and good talking.
Beautiful. As we look at the remaining AFL games for the round, Port Adelaide and West Coast, the Power $1.05 against the decimated Eagles at $9. The line minus 47.5, if you don't mind, and over and under 179.5.
Yeah, not a game looking forward to watch here, OB. Certainly not looking forward to the replay next week either. Yeah, it hasn't really moved too much, this line. Opened around 46. It did dip a little, but now 47. I think there's some 48s out there. I think this line will touch 50 by the time it jumps. Once the teams get listed and the modelers and everything come in. West Coast have lost 21 of their last 23. Back-to-back road trips to Adelaide. And they've lost their last 3 straight West Coast now by more than 41 points. So they're really getting hammered. Port have got a great tradition of beating up on weak teams. They love downhill skiing, the Port Adelaide Power. So, yeah, I think this line might still move into the 50s. Okay. you can't tip, big lines or anything like this. But yeah, this could be a bit of a massacre. But yeah, I'll be keeping my powder dry on this one, OB.
And football returns to the nation's capital on Saturday. The Giants $3.50, the Lions $1.30, the line 21.5 over under 169.5.
Yes, the Giants won't be too happy to return to this venue. They've lost their last 7 straight at their home ground in Canberra, so not a very good hunting ground for them at the moment. And the away team between these two teams, 12 out of 13 have covered. So it goes well for Brisbane, and also GWS, 12 straight now they've lost against interstate teams as well. So the stats really add up for the Brisbane side. Brisbane have won 4 straight against GWS as well. So the line's starting to move to Brisbane, 19-21. I think that will continue to move. It'll only go Brisbane's way. So if you like the Giants at the plus, you can bet late. But yeah, I think Brisbane, especially with their offensive power here, they might put a good 120 on the board here and get a nice little win again and keep the roll going for them.
Beautiful. Hawthorn and Adelaide is the early game on Sunday. The Hawks $3.50, the Crows $1.30, the line 23.5 over under 173.5 down there at UTAS Stadium in Launceston.
Going to this game, OV?
Yeah, I've got this one this week.
You love it.
Got the blockbuster.
Yes, I'm surprised you haven't got Crows hat on during this segment. I thought they might be a team you've latched onto this year, not one in your camp at the moment. But this, even though it is down obviously in Tassie, and you would know that the Hawks do defend the ground well, they're just two teams heading in different directions for mine at the moment. Hawthorn have lost their last 2. Adelaide have won 3 in a row. Adelaide offensively are averaging over 100 points, where Hawthorn are averaging 60. So there's a big gap in how these teams set up. Hawthorn also leak over 100 points average defence this year as well. So I think I can't tip Adelaide on the road at this kind of price, but the market really likes them. And if form stacks up, Adelaide will get the win here, and they'll move on to 4 wins in a row. So good for them. Hawthorn are just struggling at the moment, 1-4. Can't buy into them at this stage.
I don't know about this game. I would be staying right out of it myself. But anyway, the big blockbuster on Sunday. It's a sellout. There'll be 50,000 under the roof at the Dome. The Blues $1.95, the Saints $1.85. The line is even, and the over under 160.5. This looks an absolute beauty on Sunday.
Yeah, up and about. Might have to try and get there. OB. Did you say this was a sellout?
Sellout.
Okay,
sellout. You need to call on a few of your contacts.
I'll see how my powers get to. Yeah, looking forward to this game. Actually, I got leaning towards St Kilda. I was surprised they weren't favourite when the markets come out. Carlton were slight favourites. The market has started to trend towards St Kilda, and I'd be staggered if they don't go another 1 or 2 points. I just think Sard injury on the off the half back to Carlton on the top of Doherty in consecutive weeks. I just think it's starting to stretch Carlton. I don't think they're going that great. Not overly convinced on St Kilda. 4-1, they got off to a good start. They were okay against Collingwood last week. I just think it'll come down to the coaching. I would rather be with Lyon than Voss at this stage. And I think St Kilda's defence will be set up to take care of the Twin Towers, and that's all they have to beat. They'll control the midfield for the large parts. So I think pretty keen St Kilda, and really like the under in this game.
Beautiful. And from a blockbuster to a look on, I reckon, the Gold Coast Suns $1.27, the North Melbourne Kangaroos $3.70, the line minus 22.5 over under 164.5.
No play here, OB. This game I will try and watch on a bit of fast forward, I think, as well in the replay. 16th v 13th, 2 terrible sides. This will be a low game. The AFL's done its best to try and hide it. I don't know. The market's really warmed to the Gold Coast Suns, moved from 18 to 22. People have got far more money than me if they're backing. If they think Gold Coast is a play at minus nearly 4 goals, I'm staying out of this one.
And the Monday night game, the Anzac Eve game, sees the Demons $1.33, the Tigers $3.20, the line minus 22.5, over under 174.5. This is a great game to be at, but it looks like the D should be too strong.
Yeah, I just think Richmond's injuries are mounting up too much. I don't like the fact that they're missing their ruckman, Nankervis, and also Lynch. I just think it makes it too hard to Richmond to score. Jack Rewell can't carry the offense anymore. Lever's the key to Melbourne. They're also probably going to get Gawn, maybe Hibbard come back, so they've got some good ins when the teams will be announced. Gawn's obviously huge for him if he does come back in. Lever's the key down defence. So I think that's what exposed them in the loss last week to Essendon, that they were able to stretch him. May's not as convincing when Lever's not in the support. So I think they will. I just don't see where Richmond's scoring is going to come from. I think the market's about right, but it's probably a no play. But if you're going to bet, I think Melbourne could steamroll Richmond here.
Beautiful. And just a reminder, the AFL Stings are available for $25 a week in the littlebirdie.live shop for all your AFL betting action. MG, thank you. It's great to be here again. Another big week of AFL action. So, go well this weekend.
Thanks, OB.
That's a wrap for this week's Thursday Lines. Thanks to MG and Toprope. You can follow us on YouTube, find us in the Apple Store, on Spotify, on SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to all your good podcasts. Follow at Little Birdie TV on Twitter and Instagram. Remember, for all your footy betting action can be found at topsport.com.au. Join us next week and punt well, punt responsibly, and have a great weekend, punters.